Hey LEGO fans, and welcome back to MB Bricks. It's Maya again, and I'm going to take you guys through another MOC created by me that I have named Infiltration at Kawanda Castle. As you can see, it's a smaller MOC but jam-packed with details, so I'll be sure to take my time and show everything off slowly. This scene is placed on a 48 by 48 base plate and is approximately 2 feet high at its tallest point. It took me about 3 weeks to build this in entirety, but I had focused all my attention on it. I can accomplish quite a bit in a short amount of time when I'm not distracted by other projects. We've also been having an extremely cold winter here in Canada, so I've been hiding inside a lot, which gives me more time to LEGO. Inspiration for this MOC actually came from a previous project that I made in summer 2017 called Malhort Manor. I don't have a video for it because it was before I made this YouTube channel, but I do have an album on our Facebook page, which I'll put a link for in the description if you want to take a look at that. The dilapidated building style and skeletal armies are some of my favorite builds to make. I have also used a few new techniques in this build, which I'll be sure to point out. So without further ado, let's dive right in. I didn't start this project with much in the way of pre-planning, but I did know that I wanted to include a marshy, swampy area with a bridge going over it. I created the swamp area using the snot technique with dark green brick pieces. I locked them into place using filler bricks and then covered the edges with brown plates representing mud. I was able to attach the seaweed pieces to dark green bricks with a stud on one side incorporated into the rest of the dark green bricks. I have some purple swamp creatures adding to the fantasy aspect of the MOC and a couple of radioactive mushrooms growing nearby. The other side of the swamp hosts a few brown frogs who are watching the battle. Across the swamp is a very rickety bridge with a fallen skeleton soldier on top. The bridge has some new techniques that I have used, and I made a short clip to show you how I've achieved this look. So here we have a basic base bridge built out of reddish brown tiles. I then added bricks with studs on the side under the main part of the bridge to attach the plates going up. It doesn't matter the color of these as they will be covered. Next, to add to the warped shape to the walkway of the bridge, we are going to use a variety of different colored brown tile pieces, but only press down one side of the tile. I have used this technique in a variety of builds before, and the end result is very pleasing to the eye. You can also use these curved pieces for more of a bowed look to the wooden planks on the bridge, and you can also use jumper plates if you want to have a figure standing on the bridge. Finally, I used plates in a variety of lengths to add to the rickety sides. If you would like an angled plank, simply add a 1x1 plate between the tile and the brick and angle it to your liking. Now all that is left is to place your bridge onto your MOC. Just behind the swamp we have a lady warrior brandishing 2 swords trying to take down a skeleton soldier. It appears the top sword is about to swing down and take the skeleton out. The skeleton army's weapons of choice in this MOC are battle axes, sporting the gunmetal gray color. Just behind them is a large brick-built meat-eating plant. I used the Venus flytrap plant piece on top, and then clipped lime green sword leaf pieces to a bar piece, which is then attached to the ground using a cone piece. Don't get too close! Hiding in the back corner, I have placed 2 jesters playing cards. I always love placing jester minifigs into a serious scene and then pretending that they don't realize what's going on around them. I always make sure they have smiles plastered on their faces and participating in some sort of activity that's not helpful. Shielding them is a large canopy tree made out of dark green and purple leaf pieces. I used black color for the bark to create a more ominous feel to the tree and used ratchet-style hinge pieces to create the branches. Back towards the front we have the epitome of good and evil with 2 wizards dueling. Kawanda Castle belongs to the blue wizard, and the red wizard has come to destroy it with the help of his skeleton army. I first saw this technique at a LEGO convention where you attach flame pieces with the small knobs fitting perfectly into the one divot in the flame. Unfortunately, this technique does not work with the newer flame pieces as the small knobs have been eliminated. I think the effect is great though, and perfect for this fiery battle. Behind them is this custom scarecrow, which I like to keep together and include in many of my builds, and one last duel taking place by the main door. We are now on to the main attraction of this MOC, Kawanda Castle itself. I used several new techniques to build it, but sticking to my style of using as many different parts as possible, mainly in light bluish gray, but with hints of dark bluish gray, dark tan, olive green, and dark flesh. Up close it may seem chaotic to some people, however it is aesthetically pleasing to the eye further back and represents how real medieval castles were made back in the day, using just about any materials that were available. I knew I wanted a round tower in this build, which I had never done before, so I started with that so I could build it separate and add it in later. I then began building the rest of the castle around it, giving slight angles to the outside walls, which is also a new technique I used. The two sides are asymmetrical on purpose to distinguish where the front door would be. I made a standard brick-built door with tile pieces and tooth plates, and added an oil lantern on either side of the door. There are multiple skull decorations as we continue to the top, with two skeleton soldiers scaling the wall. The other side has not been well maintained. It is much more decrepit than the other side. The main floor window frame is falling apart, and the damage is worse as we make our way up to the balcony. The landing is on an angle achieved by adding an extra plate to one arch support underneath. The railing is completely falling apart with some chains hanging loosely down. This door was built differently, attaching reddish brown and dark brown plates together, and attaching on the inside with a brick with stud on one side, and finishing it with a simple black stud doorknob. On top of the castle walls, the battle continues to rage on. The round tower has a curved staircase leading up from the inside, and a minifig is guarding the fortress with spears. Now we know what happened to that poor skeleton soldier on the bridge below. The other fig has noticed the skeletons climbing up from the ground and has grabbed a double-sided battle axe to defend. The three trophies show what they hope to never lose: eternal light, eternal wealth, and the heads of their enemies. On the other side of the round tower, two more figs are face to face with the skeleton king. 4 arms are brandishing 4 swords, and they are unsure of how to defend against him. Stairs on either side lead up to the 3rd level, where 2 iconic wizards are dueling: Dumbledore versus Lord Voldemort. I used the new figs from the 2018 Harry Potter collectible minifigures, and I absolutely love the new wand design because you can angle them however you want. Behind them is a brick-built fireplace with smoke billowing from the top. I used trans-clear plates to achieve that look. I also added in a skeleton warrior, bringing a new log to tend to the fire, just to be silly. The tall tower in the back is the final part to look at, with an entrance door built the same way as the main door. The balcony is made up of mostly dark brown pieces, and I used palisade bricks to give texture. A lady warrior is hiding here, using a crossbow to take down enemies from afar. The tower is then finished off with a black roof and topped with the castle's flag colors, waving proudly. And that finishes up our tour of my MOC, Infiltration at Kawanda Castle. Thank you for sticking with me if you have made it this far. There was a lot to look at, a lot of details, but I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more of these MOCs and tutorials. Keep on building, everyone!